Here's a simple yet gorgeous natural decor idea that can stay out all winter long. I gathered up some white and silver ornaments alongside pine cones. I unrolled and snipped some, then tied the thread to two sides of the wreath so I have the ability to hang it. Using the same strong thread, each of the chosen ornaments and pine cones are now being threaded to prepare each one for hanging. Now I'm starting to hang each ornament, keeping in mind placement, weight, and color. Since the pine cones are the heaviest, I'm hanging two at a time. I'm snipping off all the long threads around the wreath to tidy it up. Then I'm moving below the ornaments and snipping off those threads as well.
Does anyone else have a bag of hangers and you don't know what to do with them? Take two hangers and turn them inwards into a triangle shape. Tape the top point firmly. Then tape the top hook of the hanger to the bottom part of the hanger. Repeat 2 more times so that you have 3 triangles in total. Put 2 of the hangers over top of each other and then slide the third hanger in between them. Secure at the top with wire and then cover with tape. Spread the hangers out evenly. At the bottom, take a piece of wire and affix it to one of the legs. This will keep the tree form from folding in on itself. Now, take one end of the garland and tape it to the top point of the tree form. Wind the garland down the tree form around and around. Tape the end of the garland to the tree form and then repeat with the second garland. Take a string of fairy lights and wrap them around the tree. Hide the battery pack under the tree. Next, decorate with small ornaments. I pushed the wire hangers of the ornaments into the garland and they stayed put. Pick something to be your tree topper. I picked a snowflake ornament and pushed it into the center of the garland at the top and it stayed secure.
Pick up a can of spray snow. I'm starting with some paper stencils. I cut these using my Cricut, but you can cut them by hand or purchase stencils. Once the stencils are up, I'm gonna shake that can of snow really well and just do a couple of light coats. And then while it's still wet, I'm going to pull off the stencil. Next, I cut the letters for the words "Let It Snow," again using my Cricut. Now I'm just gonna tape these up to the window. This works really well with some double-sided clear tape. I'm going to use that spray snow and spray around all of the letters. Then I'm using a tweezers to gently pull off those letters so I don't disturb any of the snow around it.
Believe how a panel of insulation material could change up my bed. I measured the length of my bed. I cut the insulation board using a razor blade. I cut the fabric and batting, leaving plenty of extra on both sides. Then I just wrapped it. I secured it using a staple gun. I used command strips with Velcro on them. I positioned the decorative side piece and simply pressed it into place. I used leftover material to create some pillows and dressed up the bed.
Pick up a roll of cellophane wrap from the dollar store and then gather some rolls of toilet paper. Pull the corners and sides of the wrap around the top of the roll and tie with some fun ribbon. Paint some black eyes and a mouth, an orange carrot nose, and add some touches of white for highlights. The next time you are at the dollar store, pick up some white plastic hangers and some clear zip ties. Start by placing 2 white plastic hangers next to each other. Take a couple of zip ties and connect the 2 hangers on the long side where they touch. Do this with all of your hangers so you end up with 8 sets of 2 connected hangers. Use a hot glue gun as double security for these zip ties. Take 2 sets of zip-tied hangers and position them on a table so the corners are touching as well as the mirrored hooks. Connect both of these touch points with zip ties and secure with hot glue if needed. Now add another set of 2 hangers onto those 2 sets. Zip tie and glue just like the others. Add the 4th set and connect with zip ties for a complete circle of hangers. Next, take one connected hanger set and place it on top of the other connected hanger set. Now, take a felt snowflake. I found mine at the dollar store. Fabric Mod Podge over the entire felt snowflake. Press some faux snow into the damp Mod Podge to add a little snowy sparkle. Once dry, hot glue the entire snowflake to the center of your hanger snowflake. Take some white string lights and weave them throughout the hanger snowflake. As you weave the lights, use the clear zip ties to secure them in place.
Pick up 6 clear plastic punch bowls from Dollar Tree. Cut a round hole in the bottom of each punch bowl and then glue the bowls together top to top with hot glue. Take the 6 attached bowls and then glue the bases of the bowls together so that you have 3 bowl balls stacked vertically. Take an LED fairy light strand, wrap the string lights around a wood dowel and thread them through the center holes. Distribute the fairy lights into each bowl. Place the bowl stack on top of a planter. Hot glue the bow, pine cones, and Christmas ornaments to the top of the bowls.
First, we're going to start with this 9-foot flocked garland. We're going to use some of this silver bay leaf and just work them right into the garland. Now we're going to work in some shatterproof ornaments, and we can start hot gluing these in place too. We'll just do one loop with a set of tails, and I'm just going to take that little pipe cleaner and wrap it around, and it just adds a nice little touch of ribbon.
I'm going to paint this inside part with some dark blue acrylic paint. Once this was dry, I've cut the edges of the plate off. Got here some copper acrylic paint. I'm going to stencil through. So once it was dry, I took a pencil and drew around the contours of this stencil, and now I'm cutting it out. I have some just regular Elmer's glue, and I'm going to add to that some glitter and paint it all over my snowflake. Leave that to dry. I'm going to put a little dab of glue and then stick it on my snowflake.
I opened up my frames and removed the glass. Using a snow frosted spray, I sprayed around the edges. Next, I picked out some of the thin wood craft shapes and sprayed those too. While those were drying a bit, I used my hot glue gun to glue the frames together, creating a makeshift window frame. I added the glass with the snowy side facing me. Next, I added my shapes with the snowy side facing down. I grabbed a small string of fairy lights. The best bet is to simply use tape. I set my project up and added some ribbon and additional dollar store greenery.
I picked up 3 of these bouncy balls from Dollar Tree. I'm going to start by painting these. Your best bet is going to be using a chalk paint and just apply a really thin coat. The paint does not have to be perfect. Now I grabbed 2 paint sticks. I'm just going to hot glue these together to make one long one. Now I'm taking each of those painted bouncy balls and I'm going to attach them to the paint sticks. I am using Snowtex. This is a really cool textured medium. With everything dry, I can start decorating. So I've just got some little black stones. I wanted to create a little carrot for a nose. So I used some orange polymer clay and just baked this for about 10 minutes so it becomes nice and firm. I am using a big flower pot. I'm going to use some heavy stones to help keep it in place. Now I want to add some decorations.
Grab some tiny little ornaments. We're going to start with these large tongue depressors. We're going to cut those in half, and then we grabbed an embroidery hoop, and we're going to take those little pieces of wood that we cut in half and we're going to glue them at the bottom and then hot glued it to the other side. Next, I grabbed this little wood tray and I hot glued that in. Then I grabbed my little ornaments, and I also had some little stars, and I just lined them up and glued them up one side. Then I grabbed one of my flowers and I hot glued that down at the top. Then I grabbed this little pearl branch, which was super cute. Then I grabbed a ribbon. Then I added a couple more of those pieces of wood along the bottom. Then I grabbed these cute little twinkle lights that are battery operated and added those to the centerpiece.
Pick out some snowflake shapes that you like and cut them each out. Place your snowflake under a piece of wax paper. It's glittery fabric paint, and squeeze it out onto the contact paper, tracing the snowflake underneath. Let it dry for 24 hours. Coat your wax paper with some non-stick cooking spray. This will prevent your hot glue from sticking to the wax paper. Squeeze your hot glue onto the wax paper, tracing the design of the snowflake, and let it cool completely. Carefully peel your snowflake off the wax paper and then wash it to get the cooking spray off. Paint sparkle Mod Podge onto your snowflake. Sprinkle with glitter, let it dry completely. I bought glitter glue sticks from the Dollar Tree. Let it cool completely, tie some fishing line onto your snowflake, and they're ready to be hung.
What I want to do is take my small tubes and I want to fold them in half and smooth out these edges. And I just want to cut off little strips of my tube until I have it all cut apart. And I want to use a piece of wax paper. Now to assemble my snowflakes, I want to start with a big dollop of glue right in the center. And then I'm going to start sticking in the edges of my paper tube. Now I want to start building up in between these sections. And now I want to add a little sparkle to my snowflake.
First thing you're going to do is grab wood slices of varying sizes. I happen to have some of these wooden stakes, so I am going to use this drilled into the back of my wood slices to hold them. I decided, because mine were pretty hefty, to just take a triangular piece of wood to use as a support in the back, and I also just attached that. And I decided to paint just the front faces, leaving a bit of the live edge around the outside. And I also cut some scrap material that I had to use as scarves.
We need to fluff open our wreath frame. Lie our mesh flat on our table, and we're gonna cut approximately 16 to 18 inch long pieces and roll it towards our hands. So we're gonna just place one piece of this mesh inside of each twist tie. So now we have both of our deco mesh wreaths complete. We're gonna actually just take one of these twist ties and secure it together. Here we have a little top hat. Just secure the 2 wires right to our metal frame. Now it's time for a scarf, and we're gonna be using just raw burlap for it. A few of these black buttons. I'm gonna apply a little bit of hot glue, and then I'm just gonna place them. So now I just have a couple of these orange pipe cleaners, and all we're going to do is just kind of bend them to shape and twist them secure, and now we have a little nose. Now I just have a black pipe cleaner, and since this is a wire, all we're going to do is just bend it into a funny shape to create our mouth.